Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Eye on Port, proudly brought to you by Star Assurance, also West Blue Consulting Limited, Ghana Oil Company Limited, and Ghana Community Network Services GCNet. Now, for some time now, we have been following this particular case of US-based Ghanaian who imported Audi Q7 to Ghana and eventually was allocated to some individual named Loretta Asare because the actual importer, that Mr. Jonathan Hammond, was not able to meet the 60 days deadline. Customs gave them a first privilege offer, and they couldn't meet that deadline as well, according to the conversation so far. So they made a petition to Customs. Customs has replied that petition, but it appears that the reply is not really helping matters. Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority says there was no foul play in the seizure and allocation of an Audi Q7 car imported by a US-based Ghanaian, Jonathan Hammond, and his wife Olivia Hammond. Customs, in a letter dated 13th January 2016 in response to a petition from the couple and signed by Peter Mbakufan, officer in charge CVCs, said the vehicles came on different dates with different vessels. According to the letter, the Audi Q7 arrived on 21st of July 2014 on board Versailles, whilst the Hyundai Sonata arrived on the 20th of August 2014 on board MSC Noah. The letter continued that since the vehicles came on different dates on board different vessels, the Audi Q7 was affected by the 60 days period earlier than the Hyundai Sonata. But the couple say the claims by Customs cannot be true since all the 4 cars they imported arrived in one container on the same day. They said all the declaration forms of both cars indicated the same date of arrival.
When we come to the declaration forms for day 2, one is for the Sonata, Hyundai Sonata, and then one is for the Audi Q7. Their date is, the arrival date, it's all the same, which is 21st July 2014. The Audi Q7, the same thing, 21st July 2014. And all what I'm holding here are custom documents. They are all from custom.
The couple have therefore appealed to the GRA Customs Division to review their decision and offer them their Audi Q7 car.
I will still urge custom to look onto the matter and then give us what belongs to us.
Indeed, upon going through the documents surrounding the transactions, Eye on Port noticed that the Audi Q7 and the Hyundai Sonata and 2 other vehicles and personal effects arrived on the same day on the same vessel. Firstly, on the Customs, Excise and Preventive Services Second-Hand Vehicle Assessment Valuation Form, which is stamped and recognized by GRA Customs Division, the date of arrival of the Hyundai Sonata is 23rd July 2014, same as that of the Audi Q7 SUV, and the valuation officer was 1R Quason, given by 1 Aaron Ahiadro. Secondly, the letter for amendment by separation of the vehicles and personal effects on the manifest, which was duly received by GRA Customs Division and signed by an officer on 5th September 2014, clearly indicated that all the 4 vehicles, including Nissan Quest, Toyota Corolla, Hyundai Sonata and Audi Q7, as well as other personal effects, were found in one 40-footer container before the Hyundai Sonata and Audi Q7 were separated on one side, while the Nissan Quest, Toyota Corolla and other personal effects also separated on another side. Thirdly, all the declaration forms of both the Hyundai Sonata and Audi Q7 indicated the same date of arrival as well. Again, all the documents available from the agent of the importer in New York, in this case Marine Transport Logistics Incorporated, indicate that all the vehicles and personal effects were consolidated in one container and arrived on the same day of 21st July 2014 with the vessel Hajin Versailles. Finally, on the first privilege offer given to the importer by the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division on 18th November 2014 to clear the Hyundai Sonata and the Audi Q7. Customs once again clearly indicated that all the 4 vehicles arrived in Ghana on the same date on one vessel. It would be recalled that Eye on Port published the story of a US-based Ghanaian, Jonathan Hammond, and his wife Olivia Hammond, who are grieving over the seizure and allocation of their Audi Q7 car to one Loretta Asare. Jonathan Hammond said he imported 4 cars including an Audi Q7 from New York, but he was only allowed to clear 3 of the cars. The Deputy Minister of Trade had advised that if the couple is unsatisfied with the decision of Customs, they could head to court.
It's a very serious allegation, and that is why I would expect the person involved to have gone to court.
The Commissioner of Customs also promised thorough investigations.
But he made payment on the 24th of December for the Sonata. The Q7, that's why I said there's somebody, if he's here, he will check to find out whether he made a declaration on it.
On the Q7
yes, as well. If he did a declaration on it, then it means there was a problem somewhere. If he made a declaration, what happened? Then we have to look at, we can trace everything in the system.
And officials from Customs had at some point admitted laxity in their documentation. Customs also assured to put its house in order.
These are two documents coming out of Customs.
Yes.
And in fact, a year or so ago, we had almost cleaned up this. It didn't used to occur. But now that it has occurred, we will have to sit down, like I said, and ensure that it's cleaned up. And this thing do not happen.
Iron Port will continue to seek closure for this matter to ensure that the quest to make the ports of Ghana the best place for doing business is achievable. Well, so we're going to dig that particular story further, and we will be approaching all the stakeholders involved to get you the truth and see whether at some point in time at all, Customs is likely to give this Audi Q7 back to Mr. and Mrs. Hammond. In the meantime, we're going to discuss National Single Window and how to facilitate trade in the port. Because somewhere around September 1st to be specific, Ghana Customs took over the job of classification, risk valuation and so on, as well as inspection in the port from the destination inspection companies. Of course, supported by their technical partner, West Blue Consulting. Prior to that, there were a lot of talked about whether Customs at all was even ready and whether West Blue was the one going to do this particular business and all of that. So we sat down with the Chief Executive Officer of West Blue Consulting, Valentina Minta, once again to find out about exactly what went on, what she made of, the talks around the time before the takeover. And since she took over, what has been her impressions about the entire exercise and where are we going?
In terms of our mandate with the government of Ghana, we have 3 mandates. The first was to support the activities of the GRA Customs Division and other stakeholders to successfully take over the functions of the destination inspection companies on the 1st of September, which we've successfully done. Our second mandate is to conduct a needs and gap analysis, a feasibility study of the Ghana National Single Window to derive the blueprint for implementation and the roadmap. And then our final mandate is to implement the signed off blueprint with the roadmap. So in terms of our work to date at the ports, we've been supporting Customs, who have the full control of the functions of classification, valuation and risk management. What we do is provide them with the tools, the technical tools, and the organizational support for them to conduct that particular function.
Okay, so beyond the technical support, what's the organizational support again? What does that entail?
So in terms of training on the IT systems, training on working together with WCO and other experts in the field. We have some consultants as well who have worked all over the world in areas such as this. So providing them the capacity to be able to do that, to use the tools adequately.
Since you took over, Customs took over from the DICs in September 1st, I'm sure that you might have had a lot of talks about, that particular transaction and that takeover. There were a lot of brouhaha prior to the takeover and all of that. First of all, how did you take that? And what your observation when you took over?
So we had a mandate to fulfill. There was a lot of noise, and there were two options. Either to lose focus and follow the noise, or to focus on the work, the task at hand, deliver what we had been mandated to do, and then deal with the issues that were emerging. But I think there was a lot of miscommunication in the beginning. There was a lot of misunderstanding.
In which area?
West Blue Consulting was being seen as a destination inspection company taking over from 5 destination inspection companies. That is absolutely factually incorrect. West Blue Consulting is an IT firm we pride ourselves in building sustainable solutions for our clients. But what differentiates us from other IT providers is whereas we believe that IT is an enabler and not a driver of any optimization or reform program. So we work very, very closely with the users of the system as well as the beneficiaries of the system to design what is best to optimize that particular environment. So I think the main misinformation or miscommunication was the fact that we were a DIC company, and by saying we're a DIC company means that we conduct the function or we work on classification, valuation, and risk management, which we don't.
Whereas you're just supposed to provide
software.
Technical support
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
customs. So you supported customs to take over. Technically, you assisted them. One of the worries at the time was that, once the 5 DICs left, there was going to be a possibility of seeing something switched off, and there will be that difficulty on the part of customs to be able to transact whatever they were supposed to transact electronically. Did you see any challenge as you took over? You supported customs to take over technically?
Technically, well, I would say probably change management was a big issue, but we need to understand the history of this particular regime. So about 15 years ago, when the WCO came up with the rules for valuation and classification, some customs administrations, particularly in the emerging and developing economies, were seen not to have the right tools and the right expertise. Therefore, it was found necessary to engage third-party private sector operators to support and to provide the necessary tools and know-how to enable customs take full control of this function. So customs never stopped valuing or classifying or providing the risk management that was needed for the nation. They had to work with an advisory company. The fundamental difference was customs didn't have the IT tools and the software and other complementing services to do that in-house. So what we did was work with them over that transition period, make sure that the tool that was being introduced was fit for purpose, piloted, and also extended beyond the customs functions. Also to understand what was not working too well in the previous. So for example, if you have 5 entities managing the one nation's risk, you would have 5 disparate systems. Therefore, we had to make sure that whatever was being provided was one national system, and also to avoid the trader moving from side to side, we had to ensure that it was truly paperless. Now, since coming into force, there's been great collaboration between private sector and government, and that is working extremely well. So what you find is that time has drastically been reduced, whereas it used to take up to, in some cases, 2 weeks for a transaction to be issued or approved. With this new regime, customs is able to respond to applications or provide the CCVR within two days, 48 hours, which is the SLA that they have signed up to with the trading public. And in some compliant cases, it's actually issued within 2 hours. And this is without the trader having to go through traffic, without them having to queue up in halls and lobbies to get their permits application approved.
I have been fortunate to hear from some of the users of this facility, and they keep talking about how successful it has been, how helpful it has also been for their work. But what really worked? So what wasn't working previously? What's working now?
What is working now is we've reduced the time and cost of doing business.
How do you do that?
Okay, so before we go into putting in an IT system or automating a system, we look at what processes are being administered. Then we look at where there are bottlenecks or where there are duplications. We then look at how the user works and how the operator works, and then put in the solution to do that. So now it's fully web-based. There are a lot of validation points and notification points in the system. So all the trader has to do, or the declarant has to do, is go online, pick up whichever commodity with their invoice and all other supporting documents, fill out the application form, attach the supporting documents, and send that through. Now, if there are any errors. At the initial stage, there will be a validation check against, so for example, a bill of lading. If a bill of lading has previously been used in the system, it is recorded in the database. So if you try and put in a second transaction with the same bill of lading, it's going to reject it. So the system doesn't accept rubbish in, which could potentially delay applications for non-rubbish items. So that that check at the entry point is what is supporting. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done. And there are a number of duplication points which we're working to harmonize. And also what's being put in place is the notifications. So as soon as you put your application through, you get notified either by email or SMS that your application has been received. And as it goes through the process steps, you get notifications, or you can log into the system to see where in the process flow your application is at. That previously you would either have to go get on the phone to find out who is working on it, or travel all the way from your office to the processing company to find out the status. All those have been eliminated. Also, there's a lot of transparency in the system. You don't have to know who is working on your document.
So there is no face-to-face interaction there and then. Discretion?
Absolutely not.
What about discretion? In as much as they may not have access to whoever is working on their document, do people still have, the individuals or humans still have discretion to work on documents?
So these are things that we have to continuously keep looking at. Some of the controls that have been put in place is, for example, from the customs end, they cannot see which entity, who is the they can't see the name of the importer, they cannot see the declarant, they can just see the transaction. So that would reduce any temptations or any that would reduce any human temptation. Absolutely, because you just see a transaction, you don't see who owns that particular transaction. Another feature which is in the system is the task manager. So the task manager randomly allocates tasks to officers who are on duty. So you cannot cherry pick by looking at what is outstanding and then picking out names. This is automatically sent to the officers to work on. Also, there are a number of processing points. So you have a document verification officer who first verifies that the documents are up to date. It then moves over to a classification officer who ensures that the goods haven't been misclassified and that they're accurate. It then moves on to the valuation officer who ensures that that particular commodity code has been valued within the acceptable threshold. Following that, it goes over to the quality assurance department. They do the once-over check to ensure that everything is in line before pushing out the approved CCVR to the declarant. So as you can see, there's a lot of random points in there. So you cannot have the same group of people working on the same declarant's transactions day in, day out. So we put in those random filters to ensure that the human touch point which we had gotten accustomed to gets neutralized. No system is foolproof.
Of course.
We keep monitoring and working on it. And there's an audit check, there's an audit trail on the system, so that at any point in time there's a timestamp of who worked on what document and what they did, so that if there is an incident or an issue, you can actually trace back and investigate.
Well, so West Blue believes that there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel as far as doing business in the ports of Ghana is concerned. They believe that at the end of this national single window exercise, doing business in Ghana is going to be as smooth as you have ever imagined. Iron Port returns after the break.
Sing about there ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you. I gotta slow down.
Every time you think of importing goods into Ghana, know that there is a competent team of world-class personnel to cater to your trade needs. Know that there is a help desk you can call with your queries. Know that you can speed up the process of clearing your goods with customs long before they arrive in Ghana. Remember that CCVR, which used to take several days, now only takes 48 hours through the new Customs Pre-Arrival Assessment Reporting System known as PASS. Remember that our staff all over the nation is waiting to serve you. Remember that PASS makes imports into Ghana faster, simpler, safer and easier. Ghana Revenue Authority, committed to serving you better.
Ghana's goil.
Your own goil.
Our own goil.
Ghana's gold. Gold, gold. In the service of the nation.
North, south, east and west. Wherever we put you first.
Gold, gold, gold is good energy.
Goil is good energy. Services so friendly to the nation. North, south, east and west, we always stand for the best.
Gold, gold, gold is good energy. Gold, gold, gold is good energy.
Welcome back from the break. Let me remind you once again that coming this particular week, beginning Monday, there's going to be a lot of engagement on National Single Window, starting with a plenary session at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel being organized by West Blue Consulting. All stakeholders who have been invited, you are being called upon to endeavor to honor that particular invitation. Be at the plenary session, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, to learn a lot more about National Single Window. The exercise continues at the Royal Senchi Hotel, also being organized by West Blue Consulting. Tuesday and Wednesday, stakeholder engagement. Thursday, media engagement on National Single Window. All individuals who have been invited, you are being called upon to honor that invitation, just to know what is going on, what National Single Window is about. Be there to learn. Coming up next are news and activities happening in and around the port and maritime industry.
Dr. Kofi Mbia, Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Shippers Authority (GSA), has revealed that not less than 10,000 containers are lost at sea yearly due to inaccurate information on weight of containers on vessels. According to Dr. Mbia, the development has necessitated International Maritime Organization regulation, which is to ensure verification of container weight before they are loaded on vessels. The requirement, which is an obligation, will become legally effective on July 1st, 2016. Speaking at a one-day forum in Tema for stakeholders in the shipping industry, Dr. Mbia mentioned that the IMO regulation will ensure protection of personnel, vessels and assets of terminal operators as well as cargo.
And if you have not appropriately positioned the weights of these in the stowage plan of the ship, it means that you could have more weight on one part of the ship than the other. Hence, it may cause stability issues. And you would realize that ships have capsized. We have lost containers. Every year, no less than 10,000 containers are lost at sea. And a lot of this is attributed to the fact that the weights of these containers are sometimes misdeclared by shippers.
The Ghana Shippers Authority is actively involved in the implementation of the IMO requirement for cost recovery rather than profit making. Stakeholders at the forum expressed their readiness to ensure that the IMO requirement is implemented to the letter.
The port is a receptacle area which all these things will have to come to, and it is also going to affect the performance of the port if not handled well. So we are ready, we've gone far ahead, we are investing in so many things like equipment to enable us facilitate this revolution.
They believe sea accidents involving vessels due to overweight will reduce to the barest minimum with the new IMO regulation on verified gross mass verification of containers. The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has intensified its engagement with stakeholders on the ECOWAS Common External Tariff in Ghana. The ECOWAS CET is expected to make it possible for all member states to charge the same duties on items imported from outside the member countries. At a stakeholders meeting with Tema Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Okon Apia, Chief Revenue Officer, Customs Division and member of CET implementation team, said the CET will promote inter-community trade amongst the ECOWAS countries. This, he said, is because goods from member states will not attract any import duty. He said the CET, aside encouraging investment, will protect farmers and agriculture in the country. Isaac Waibari, Tema Regional Chairman of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, expressed hope that the CET will develop the sub-region.
Yes, the CET is good. The main essence of the CET is development for the sub-region. But we shouldn't do it at the expense of manufacturing, because some countries are more in an advantageous position than others.
Sing about there ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
I gotta slow down.
Every time you think of importing goods into Ghana, know that there is a competent team of world-class personnel to cater to your trade need. Know that there is a help desk you can call with your queries. Know that you can speed up the process of clearing your goods with customs long before they arrive in Ghana. Remember that CCVR, which used to take several days, now only takes 48 hours through the new Customs Pre-Arrival Assessment Reporting System known as PASS. Remember that our staff all over the nation is waiting to serve you. Remember that PASS makes imports into Ghana faster, simpler, safer and easier. Ghana Revenue Authority, committed to serving you better.
Ghana's goil. Your own goil. Our own goil. Ghana's own goil.
I've been buying goil for a while now. I get my money's worth every time I buy from the goil station.
Goil,
is a station that you buy fuel from them. You can work with your fuel the whole day that you don't have any problem.
Boy, there, boy, how much is here?
My children, their cars, all they will buy from Goil. If you don't take the receipt from Goil, I won't pay back.
Goil is good energy.
Also coming up this week, beginning the 1st of March, the Group CEO of Maersk International is going to be in this country, Ghana. He is expected to leave by 3rd or so of March, and he's going to do a lot of business around the offshore drilling activities, also the port industry. They are going to definitely talk about the port expansion, Tema port expansion, that is supposed to kickstart very soon. Already a lot of feasibility studies have been going on, a number of underground works have been going on, but I'm sure that when he comes, we are going to talk to him and ask him about physical takeoff of that port expansion. 1st of March, Group CEO of Maersk International Mr. Nils S. Anderson, will be in Ghana. In the meantime, we bring you schedules of vessels that are sitting in the port, those coming from Anchorage, plus those expected for the coming week. Plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate on your screens. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Eye on Port. But let me remind you once again that there is going to be a national single window workshop and stakeholder engagement beginning with a plenary session at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel just this Monday, and also other engagement at the Royal Senchi Hotel. That's on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a media engagement on Thursday. All those invited are being called upon to endeavor to honor that invitation. Also, the group CEO of Maersk International is going to be in Ghana from 1st of March to the 3rd of March, and you can trust Eye on Port. We will be engaging him one-on-one to find out about some of the offshore drilling activities that they are interested in, plus the Tema Port expansion that's supposed to kickstart very, very, very soon. Thank you for watching the program. Also, thanks to the entire crew for supporting